Early in the morning, you're drinking your favorite coffee and scrolling through your texts when all of a sudden, someone says or does something mean that hits you like a cold shower. Suddenly, your day doesn't look as good. We all have to deal with difficult people, but how we react can completely change the dynamics. Have you ever noticed that a negative comment can stick with you longer than a compliment? It's like a stain on your favorite shirt that won't come out. Your power lies in being able to see that stain and decide not to let it ruin your shirt or your day. It's about realizing that these tough moments say less about you and more about the other person. Marcus Aurelius said something very wise. When someone blames you, hates you, or criticizes you in similar ways, go to their souls, look inside, and see what kind of people they are. Then you will realize that you don't need to be terrified that they should have a certain opinion about you. This outlook encourages us to look at things in a new way, go beyond the surface encounters, and try to figure out why other people do the things they do. This time of facing negativity also gives you a unique chance to think about yourself. So I dare you to look inside yourself and take off the layers of expectations and societal masks. What truths about yourself have been hidden by other people's opinions? Are you letting someone else's bad mood control your day or your sense of self-worth? Let's go on this journey of self-discovery together, finding ways to deal with toxic people and improve our sense of self-awareness. You've probably met someone who always seems to make things worse. We call these people toxic because they make it hard to see because they spread negativity like a cloud of smoke. But what if I told you there was a way to clear the air and find your way through the smoke without getting lost? Being aware of yourself is the first step. Just like knowing you're allergic to smoke makes you stay away from it. Understanding how you react to toxic people can help you emotionally keep your distance. It reminds me of a fencing master who taught his students that the real skill in fencing wasn't just attacking, but also knowing exactly when to dodge. When a toxic person hits you, picture yourself doing a perfect sidestep. You don't take the blow because you know your boundaries and respect them enough not to let anyone cross them. It's not as hard as you might think to really understand this and use it in your daily life. When dealing with negativity, it's like tying your shoes. At first you have to pay attention, but after a while it becomes second nature. Take a step back and ask yourself, why does this bother me? What can I learn from this? These questions aren't meant to make excuses for other people. They're meant to strengthen your own mental toughness. Take a moment to realize that this path will not be easy. Self-awareness and getting through other people's smoke. Not feeling good is not a fairy tale. There will be times when it seems easy to just strike back at what was said or done, but those times will not last. Victory is hollow because it betrays who you are every time you respond instead of react. Remember that you're not doing it because it's easy. You're doing it because it's the right thing to do. This is about building a fortress within yourself, not out of pride, but out of strength and calm. It's not about ignoring the bad things that happen, but recognizing them without letting them get to you. Define your actions, so take on the challenge. It makes you stronger, more durable, and, in the long run, unquestionably stronger. 2. Forgiveness and memory. Look up at the sky. Do you notice how the stars shine brightly even though darkness is all around them? Think of these stars as people who make your life better by understanding and caring about you. On the other hand, you may meet black holes, which are toxic people who pull you into their darkness and drain you of your energy and joy. So, the question is there a way to move through this cosmic dance of relationships without falling into these black holes? Think of yourself as a spaceship that runs on guts and wisdom instead of hydrogen. It takes guts to forgive you, the power cell that forgives people for their mistakes and lifts you above any harmful influence, frees you from the weight of resentment that holds you back with painful memories and grudges. But every spaceship needs a way to find its way. Keep this in mind. The one who keeps life's lessons the whisper in your ear, telling you to go in a different direction when a known black hole looms in the way of your flight. Toxic experiences we've had in the past aren't chains that hold us back. They're like points on a star map that show us the way to better orbits. Every bad experience we have with a toxic person, every strong emotion we feel, serves as a lighthouse to tell us of what to avoid and shapes how we interact with others. Forgiving and remembering is like a compass that guides us through the complicated constellation of relationships. With these ideas in mind, I ask you to think about who you see as a star and who you need to move away from like a black hole as you move through these relationships. Use your forgiveness to move forward and use your memories to help you avoid making the same mistakes in the dance of relationships. In this complicated ballet of life, let us strive to be the spaceship that navigates through the chaos with precision. Grace that comes from the ability to forgive and the knowledge of remembering. 3. Emotional stability. Living with toxic people can be like walking through thick fog. It's hard to see where you're going, and each step feels uncertain. But what if I told you there's a way to clear the fog? It starts inside you with the emotional power that Stoicism develops. Imagine someone who, no matter how crazy things get, never seems to get upset. That person would be like a rock standing strong in the middle of a storm. Being indifferent or cold isn't the point. It's about realizing that the only thing we can really change is how we react to the outside world. Stoics teach us that our power lies in how we respond, not in trying to control the uncontrollable. So when we're around toxic people, we summon our inner Stoic, and instead of getting involved in the drama, we take a moment to breathe. It's like being in the middle of a hurricane. Everything else is crazy, but here it's calm. We can breathe, think, and then act from a place of calm reason in this space. It's about changing. Mindfulness helps us shift our attention from what's going on around us to how it will affect our inner happiness. It is used a lot these days, but here's the cool thing. It works. Mindfulness allows us to stand back and observe the chaos without getting caught up in it. It's not about ignoring the negativity. It's about recognizing it without letting it control our peace. It's realizing that these moments will pass, just like clouds in the sky. So the next time you're in the middle of negativity, remember that you're the architect of your peace. Build it strong for setting boundaries. Imagine living in a world where every interaction is like a brushstroke. Stoics were masters of their own minds, not by avoiding problems, but by building walls around themselves. They knew that not all criticism or negative energy was worth their time. What if I told you that you could use the same stoicism to deal with toxic people? It's not about building a wall that can't be broken down. It's about choosing which gates to open. Being selectively open doesn't make you less of a person. It makes you more of a person. Setting boundaries means putting your energy where it will do the most good, not with pride or disdain, but with the calm resolve of a Stoic who knows his worth and the value of his time. It means calmly saying, "This is where I draw the line, because your peace is not up for negotiation." Let's look at each day as a chance to paint your masterpiece and put your energy where it will do the most good. As a reminder, setting boundaries for yourself is not an act of aggression, it's an act of self-respect and wisdom. Start today by defining where your garden ends and the wild begins, not by cutting people out, and watch how your life changes. If this video speaks to you, let us know in the comments and don't forget to hit subscribe for more insights. If you're ever in a room with someone whose energy makes you feel like a storm is turning your sunny day upside down, you'll need to use 5 energy knowledge. Dealing with bad people can make even the calmest person feel tested. But let's look inward and consider the idea of energy intelligence as our compass. Imagine your energy as a wall, like an old city wall that keeps out unwanted negativity and keeps you at peace. Now think about the power of choice in these situations. Just like choosing the right fuel for your car affects its performance and longevity, you can choose how to react and interact with people who drain your energy. For example, you can choose to be patient and understanding, or you can choose not to interact with them at all. Instead of avoiding confrontation, you should gain knowledge and make decisions that are in line with your peace. Using this intelligence goes beyond just being self-controlled. It's about making a space around you that is so stable that even the strongest storm can't move it. Shake your foundation. You're like a tree with deep roots in the ground. You can't be moved by the wind, but that's because you know how to bend and rock with it without breaking your strength and flexibility. Remove harmful energy from a situation so it has to go away or move on. Now I want you to think about how you've been handling your energy when things have gone wrong. When someone else's negativity made you feel down, how did you react? Did you let their storm cover your sky? Or did you shine even brighter, guiding both of you back to calm? This journey isn't about becoming immune. It's about realizing that you have the strength and knowledge to handle any challenge that comes your way. Take a moment to breathe and remember how powerful you are. How will you move forward? Put this energy knowledge to good use to keep the peace and show others the way. Remember that how you dance in the rain, not how well you can avoid a storm, is what really shows how strong you are inside. You know you're on the right track when you really want to do something, like learn a new skill, meet a fitness goal, or make progress on a personal project. You think you're on the right track, but then out of the blue you run into people or situations that bring you down. These encounters can throw you off, like a gust of wind turning a paper airplane around. It's disappointing, to say the least. Take the case of Jordan. Jordan was determined to start a small online business, but his friends and family were skeptical. While some doubted out loud, others suggested safer ways in a more subtle way. Many of us have been in this situation before. Instead of getting into pointless arguments or trying to prove his ambitions, Jordan worked on getting better at what he did, learning more, and building his business one step at a time. What can we learn from Jordan's trip? A strong belief in one's goal and a refusal to let bad things get in the way. This turns to how we deal with bad people, which is a skill that needs to be honed. The Stoics were on to something important when they said to focus on what we can control. Changing other people isn't one of those things, but we can control how we react to them. It's about keeping a mental wall up so negativity doesn't get through and cloud our judgment or spirits. Imagine a raincoat in heavy rain. It doesn't stop the rain, but it keeps you dry. That's the kind of resilience we're looking for. So the next time someone doubts or criticizes your plans or goals, think of Jordan and focus on strengthening your own path instead of trying to convince those who disagree with you. Offer a smile and a nod, and then go about your work. You have things you need to do, and that negative stuff doesn't get to live in your head for free. Accept Stoicism, pay attention to what you're doing, enjoy the process, and let the descent fade into the background. It's your journey, and you're the only one who can guide you there. 7. Seeking support. Every once in a while, we run into someone who seems to challenge our mental health in every way. You know, the kind of people whose presence feels like a storm cloud on a sunny day. It's like you're stuck in quicksand. The more you try to stay calm, the deeper you sink into anger or frustration. This is the complicated dynamic we often find ourselves in when dealing with toxic individuals. This is a test of our patience and, more importantly, our toughness. But let's look more closely at how asking for help doesn't show weakness but wisdom, just like how one candle can light up the darkness. Sharing your struggles with someone who understands can light up paths you didn't see before. These are the people who add strength to our resolve, not by fighting our battles for us, but by reminding us of the power of our own mental fortitude. Imagine having a wise elder in your corner, offering advice drawn from a well of experience. That's the kind of invaluable support that can help us navigate through the toxicity with grace to harness the Stoic strength within us. We need to recognize when external perspectives can help us. It's about understanding that while we can't control the actions of others, we can certainly control our reactions to them through the art of Stoicism. We learn to detach, to see the situation from a higher perspective. It's like zooming out on a map to find alternative routes we might have missed. While being zoomed in seeking support, we allow ourselves the space to breathe, reflect and choose our responses carefully, ensuring they align with our values and sense of peace. Now take a moment to think about your own encounters with challenging individuals. How have you found your way through these waters? Have you tried to go? Are you going through it all by yourself, relying only on your strength? Or have you reached out for that supportive view that could change everything? Remember that the true mark of a Stoic isn't silence or suffering alone, but knowing when and how to use the wisdom around us to make the path easier and understanding control of negative self-talk. That first time you met someone whose energy was like a cloud in a parade. We've all been there, have been there, feeling the weight of someone else's negativity pulling us down. Interestingly, the way we talk to ourselves when we're around toxic people can either protect us or hurt us. Think of your mind as a garden and each thought about yourself as a seed. This helps us plant seeds of power and resilience. Do not be afraid to stand tall, but do add questions and fears to your life. All the good things start to die because of the weeds, but that's not the whole story. Sometimes we can't just walk away. That's where the old Stoic wisdom comes in. It's not what happens to us that matters, but how we deal with it. Stoicism makes us smarter. When dealing with someone else's negative influence, it's important to be aware of the thoughts you have with yourself. Instead of asking, "Why do I have to deal with this?" think, "How can I grow stronger from this encounter?" This could help you develop resilience, empathy, or the courage to stand up for your own boundaries. Changing your viewpoint isn't just a matter of words, it's reclaiming your power. Imagine someone's negative comments as arrows. If your self-worth is an impenetrable shield, those arrows can't touch you. That doesn't mean you won't feel the pain sometimes, but remember that those arrows can only hurt you if you let them. Take a moment to think about how often you let outside negativity affect your self-talk. Talking about controlling yourself doesn't mean building a fortress around your heart. Stoicism isn't about not feeling anything. It's about picking which fights are worth your blood. 9. Do you ever ask yourself how to deal with those toxic people? Remember that the only person you really have power over in this life is yourself. We all have to deal with. It's like walking through thick fog. Every step feels uncertain and the air feels heavy. The key is to adopt a solution-focused mindset that is based on the principles of Stoicism. This way of thinking allows us to turn these interactions into chances for personal growth and emotional intelligence instead of sources of frustration, as you might think. It takes imagination to change the script on toxic relationships. It's like playing chess. You have to plan several moves ahead of time and guess how people will react without getting emotional. This means listening more than you speak and responding calmly, which is a skill that many people admire but few master. This kind of strategic creativity helps you stay calm and not get caught up in the chaos. Being able to change is your best friend in these scenarios. It's the ability to stick to your ideals even when dealing with people who are difficult. Think of yourself as a tree with strong roots that can bend in the wind. When you're faced with the storms of poison, this toughness makes you stronger and gives you the tools to handle any storm. Now I want you to think about how you react when you're faced with negativity or manipulation. Remember that the presence of toxic people might not be in your control, but by adopting a Stoic, solution-focused attitude, you're not only avoiding the problems that negativity brings, you're actively creating a life of peace, resilience, and dignity. Remember that in the big picture, what makes US 10 unique is not the problems we face, but how we solve them. Staying away from pointless fights. It's an old saying, but it's never been more true than in today's world, where every interaction can feel like a minefield when dealing with toxic people. It's like trying to find your way through a maze at night. You never know when you'll hit a wall. The key is not to charge at every wall you see, but to feel your way around and decide which paths are worth taking. Some conflicts are just energy drainers with no way out. Realizing this can save you a lot of trouble. You might be shocked to learn that the most powerful thing you can do is nothing at all. Silence can speak louder than any word you say. The fight when poisonous people say mean things to you. They want a response. Any sign that their words have hit home. If you don't respond, you take the wind out of their sails. It's not that you're ignoring the problem. It's that you don't let it control you. Your energy is valuable. Use it in important fights. Don't fall into the trap of trying to change someone's bad behavior. If you try to put out a fire with gasoline, you'll only make it worse. Instead, ask them to think about the situation and try to see it from a different point of view. This is called transitioning from confrontation to conversation. This method won't always work, and that's okay. The goal isn't to win every battle with them, but to keep your peace and dignity along the way. On the battlefield, empathy is your shield. It doesn't mean you agree with or approve of the other person's behavior if you try to see past the surface. Remember that everyone is going through their own problems, some of which you have no idea about. Being patient gives you time to think about what to say instead of reacting. This doesn't make you weak. It makes you smart. Take a moment to think about the times you've dealt with difficult people. Are there patterns you can see? Are there battles you've been waging that aren't worth your time? Remember that being stoic doesn't mean being emotionless. It means not letting your emotions control you. It means choosing where to focus your energy, knowing that not every battle is yours to fight. So the next time you're about to get into an argument, take a step back, breathe, and 11. It's shocking that fake cordiality was found. How quickly a simple conversation can turn into a full-on fight. A small spark can grow into a wildfire that destroys everything in its path. But here's the thing. Not all sparks have to turn into fires. This is especially true when working with toxic people. Knowing what false cordiality means can help you put out fires. It's about being able to tell when someone is lying about being on your side while quietly stacking wood to feed the fire. Your body language tells the truth. A fake smile or arms crossed tightly across the chest are clear signs that someone is not telling the truth. Hint that you're dealing with people who have hidden goals and not people who genuinely care. Take a moment to listen to what isn't being said. A voice that sounds sweet but lacks warmth, or an awkward laugh that seems to get in the way of conversation, can reveal more than words ever could. These small details of communication are like invisible threads pulling at your intuition, guiding you to realize that things are not what they seem to be. The way someone speaks can reveal their true intentions. Now think about the patterns you see in people's behavior. Consistent actions show who someone really is. They're like the steady beat of a drum, reliable and unchanging. On the other hand, behavior that changes wildly depending on who's watching is as weak as a leaf in the wind, showing that friendship is just a show. It's important to notice these patterns because in the world of human interactions, consistency, it has to do with creating a space where real connections can grow. Real relationships can be found by being a lighthouse of honesty and a sea of fakery that leads others to them. So the next time you feel like something is wrong, trust your gut and pay attention to the signs. Also, remember that not every friendly hand is one that should be shook. Stay strong, because the road ahead is only you. Remember that your peace is a fortress, and protect it with the wisdom of Stoicism. Studying Stoicism can help you deal with toxic people and live a more fulfilling life. There's also a deeper world of Stoic knowledge waiting for you. By signing up for our free newsletter, you're taking the first step toward it. Take your seat now and learn more about this amazing theory and how it all fits together. Don't miss out. Click on the link in the summary to find your place among other Stoics.